Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Bro Media Podcast. Thank you for joining. I'm Lazarus, one of your hosts here. One of the what did we say last week? We're co-founders, or we're just going with founders, right?
We're co-brothers.
Co-brothers, but we're both founders. We're both first. We're not second to each other or anything.
Right.
But just a little bit about myself. I'm a father, entrepreneur. I'm a musician, regular down to earth guy that likes to have real conversations. And that's why we created this podcast so that we can talk about random, uh, random things, but sometimes we stick to relevant things. I don't know, whatever comes to mind. And we appreciate you guys watching, and pass the torch over to my pal here.
What up, everybody? It's been a whole 7 days since our last podcast, but some exciting news for us. We were just going over the logistics of things, and we're so thankful for the subscribers and all the likes and the shares and the going out of your way to watch an entire podcast, to just watching the reels that we get put together for us. So cool, man, to see that happening. But we're like, I don't even know 9,000 people.
Right.
That's amazing. So thank you for being here. We're not anything too special, which I think is relevant to a lot of people. We're just a couple guys BSing with each other, and obviously we're friends, and we do this weekly with each other, and I look forward to it, man. We always come into these projects without any, like, this is freestyle. We have no idea what we're going to talk about, which is what, when guys or girls or people get together, I feel like that's what makes it organic. It just flows. Yep. Sometimes you have to look for topics, and I was curious on last week. We talked a lot about the P. Diddy stuff, and I was really curious on what we would find out in a week, but nothing's happened. Like, nothing's popped up other than more stuff. But I was wondering if he was going to have his team or his people step forward and give a statement. And so far,
it's been quiet, man. It's crickets.
Yeah,
even for him, I think we mentioned it like offline, that it's kind of weird, and I'm sure there's something like legal behind it also, like kind of probably taking their time, but friends and family are, getting arrested. Other than him, he's out and about. It looks like it's very confusing as a person outside of the legal scope looking at this. Everybody around him's kind of getting, either arrested or brought in. Like, it seems weird.
It's interesting that I think we touched on that last week. Like, what level of power do you have to where you really do, like, your normal is so far from a normal's normal that this is normal. Like, this is like, he's not under any sort of microscope at all, but to everyone around him, it seems to be being brought in for questions and stuff. And maybe they're building a case, maybe they're trying to see what they have, maybe they don't have anything. But it's definitely giving us a topic, because it's fascinating to me, especially being a musician, and wondering, did we dodge a bullet by not, having to go down this road of anything available to us anytime? Just like, what do you do if you have absolute, like, unlimited resources at any time, financially, anything that you can imagine in excess?
Mm-hmm.
Does that change you, and does that make your new normal like the craziest normal? Look at dudes like who's that professional gambler that's Bill Bilzerian?
Okay, I'm not aware who
that guy.
Not sure who he is.
Dan Bilzerian. I think I'm saying that right. If you look him up, he's a gambler, but he makes his living on excess with chicks on yachts, and he's got 12, 15, 20 chicks with him at all times, completely unclothed, just living the craziest life, and has a a side business where he does I think it's CBD products, vapes, and stuff like that. But that dude um, is kind of an example of like
Excess power.
totally just like just wild and like you have it all. But I wonder if that level of content and happiness really actually meets the it matches the level of things. Is when you don't have a cap on things that you can attain. Um, how does that affect your happiness?
Right.
How does that like how does that desensitize you to the smaller things that mean a lot to guys like you and I, like quality of time with family or great conversations at dinner or you know just telling someone you care about them.
Well,
That's
I mean,
a
I think
little.
you just said it right there. Anything in excess, it's always going to desensitize you some way. It doesn't matter if it's, watching too much TV, you just become that's your normal. If you're a person that just sits on TV and watches TV all day, you don't realize that, the days
Or TikTok.
going
Or
by, yeah,
TikTok.
or TikTok or Instagram or YouTube in itself, and you're just flipping through 4 hours pass by, you're like, you know, what just
I'm
happened?
curious. I'm gonna go to my screen time because I'm curious because I'm guilty of scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it looks like today, and I worked a full day. But it looks like today I had 4 hours of screen time. At some
Hmm.
point in the day, I was at 4 hours, and then yesterday also worked a full day, but I was at 8 hours of screen time, which whatever that means. I mean, I am on my phone. Monday I was on it for 10 hours, and Sunday 10 hours. So transparency, I live on my phone. My business runs on my phone. I talk to customers and people, and I'm texting, and I'm emailing, and I'm scrolling on Instagram is my thing. That's my, I guess my TikTok, and sharing memes, and just kind of this device is always around.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked at that actually before, so I was curious. But 10 hours seems excessive. Today was a pretty busy day, so only 4 hours.
I don't think I've ever been in this part of the app, so I'm gonna have to
Did you
circle
type
back
in
here.
screen?
Yeah,
Did you
like
type screen time?
I did.
Yeah, and it kind of like, you can add your family members in there too.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do that later. I guess it's having me
It's
do
like,
some
oh,
stuff.
yeah, it'll have you set it up, but basically it'll like, like my kid, um, YouTube. You can control all the settings here. You can set the ages, so it'll tell you,
Mm.
you know, what you're allowing them to see. It'll alert you. Um, And for parents out there too, that as their kids get into the teenage years, and it's not that we don't trust our kids per se, it's that the internet is just a wild place.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like it's like Twitter, it's just like anything you want, boom. Back when we were kids, we were really lucky to see like a scrambled, maybe a breast on the unscrambled cable. We're like, I think I saw
Oh
one.
yeah.
But nowadays, man. So um, we had to switch our kid over to an Android phone because there's an app called Bark that you can put on your kid's phone that monitors pretty much everything. I mean, everything. And we get a lot of alerts. Some of them will say profanity, and you look on it, and it's like, it's a YouTube video. Someone said, but, like you got to go in and customize it because you'll get, you'll see one that says bullying, and it's you click on it. It's usually a link to whatever the
Right.
app, and it'll say like somebody was calling that guy a jerk because he was being a jerk, and like so you have to streamline it. But from Snapchat to all of those apps that are could be in Discord, all of those apps that are kind of used for good stuff. Like we use those apps for gaming, but nowadays kids can use them for,
Other stuff. Yeah.
other stuff. And it'll literally tell you exactly the conversations that were had. You have to go into your kid's phone and set it up and give access to it. So it's not like you can just, surprise your kid.
Yeah.
They're gonna know it's on there. Um, Same thing for spouses and stuff. You can't just slap bark on your phone and all of a sudden
Right.
you're your every move is being recorded. But
Yeah, we
uh,
the only apps that we let, my kids is like the YouTube Kids and like little various like gaming, apps that are on their iPads or I mean they only have iPads, so it's not like
yeah,
they're connected with anything else. And we delete Safari, we delete, Chrome, like they don't have access to the internet. Maybe later on in life once they kind of get older, but it's really like I don't want to put them in a position where they get curious either. You know what I mean?
right,
Because you look something up. They're being funny. They put like you said the word "but." It's gonna
yeah,
come up with stuff. You know what I mean? Like so we're just being protective. Eventually
yeah.
there'll be the time and day where we let loose the leash a little bit and we get to the point like for you you probably have your kid probably has like an Instagram, a Facebook maybe, but I
Oh
don't.
man, I'm just looking right now to kind of give you an example of like,
Yeah,
uh,
we're not there yet. And even like I see my daughter, she's in 5th grade, and I see kids in her grade, they have cell phones.
yeah,
And to me, I'm not there yet. I didn't have a cell phone when I was in 5th grade. I was out playing with bicycles, playing in the dirt outside.
yeah,
Had You have better things to do than be on a cell phone in 5th grade.
sure.
That's
Well, we had in my fifth grade, we had my parents had a brick phone or a bag phone. They were real estate agents,
hmm
and then we didn't, we had home phones with the cord, because that was early '90s. No, yeah, that was it. Yeah, yeah. Fifth grade was '80s for me. That sounds wild.
hmm
Uh, yeah, my high school years was '90 through '94, or yeah, '90 through '94. So yeah, that's wild, man.
yeah.
Times,
Time's flying and
but
times have changed too.
we still like to play outside. I still tonight before we got on this podcast, I was outside playing outside. Just where I like to be. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, what else is going on, man?
I guess I want to touch back to what we were talking about because it's a whole like P Diddy thing's kind of fascinating. I have been following it. Um, and the latest update that we got was from Suge Knight that's in jail, which
Saw
is
that. Yeah, he
which
issued a warning, right?
I I I find it weird that we're going and giving somebody that's in jail. I forgot what he's in jail for. If the chat can remind me for like,
Uh,
I'm sure
he
did he
he
kill?
hit and run killed somebody. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that's what
that's
he.
what he went to jail for.
The fact that
I actually looked that up
he's
too.
still getting this type of publicity. I saw the quality of the video, so that means that they set up like high quality cameras to capture his opinion. You know what I
Yeah,
mean, or his
yeah,
message or whatever.
yeah. Fatal hit and run. In fact, they that was I saw it. Like it was recorded.
Oh,
So that showed
I
him.
think I know what you're talking about. There was a video out there, right?
It showed him just flat plow somebody down
Yeah. Well,
and split.
he's in jail, and I
Yeah,
don't know why we're going and giving him a platform for it. I mean, that's just my opinion.
yeah.
It's kind of
I
weird.
think I think when you're like, I don't know, the who knows, the layers go so deep with the rap game, and uh I saw why, like, Diddy had uh a tattoo of Tupac on his chest. It's all faded, but it makes you kind of wonder why. Why did he have a tattoo of him on his chest when he's kind of been reported to, from what I hear, um, and it's hearsay. It's just people probably like us just BSing. But
Just talking,
Diddy had,
speculating.
yeah, Diddy had a hand in, like they had a lovers quarrel, and that's why he got shot up.
Hmm.
That's conspiracy, but doesn't sound like. I mean, it definitely sounds like from what you see, it definitely sounds like Diddy is a dabbler on both teams. you know, uh, and that's
Yep.
to each his own. But I mean, that seems to be like enough evidence on the internet. Not that you can believe everything that's out there. It just seems very strong. It suggests very much so that Diddy's a dabbler.
Yeah, and what's weird is that, there's so much secrecy behind it.
Oh yeah.
And if
Mm.
you really think about it, like who has come out to support him? You know what I mean? Like where's all his friends?
It seems
Everybody's
like
everybody's quiet.
everybody, yeah, they're like, yeah, I'm not really gonna talk about that. Even Exhibit just recently was they asked him, I said, hey, 50 just gave you a shout out on one of his songs. They were going back in time and it was Find Me in the Club. And and he's like, oh, that's cool. And they said, well, while we're talking about that, what do you have to say about Diddy? He's like, he kind of laughs. He goes, I'm not going to talk about that.
Mhm.
He's like, I got nothing but love for love, you know? And he kind of touched down. He's like, it's all love with love. I'm not going to talk about it though. Like everybody probably knows. The weird thing I just saw recently was, and this, I don't know how old the video is,
Okay.
but it was Diddy patting Justin Bieber like on his chest, like
Mhm.
trying to feel around if he had a. You can't hear what he's saying, so you don't really know. But it was strange, right? It'd be like me running into you, and all of a sudden I'm just patting you down,
Yeah,
feeling you.
that would be very weird.
Yeah. Oh, and then at the he almost looks humiliated, but at the very end he's like, "Okay, well, love you." And you could hear him say that.
Mhm.
Gets in his car, but makes you wonder what that was out. I mean, that if you're a celebrity and you step out into plain view, like somebody's probably going to be recording you.
Yeah.
And at what point do you forget the cameras are on? I guess when you've been famous for that long, do you just deal with it and you just don't care anymore? You just live your life.
Yeah.
Like you've established your, you've established your level of uh of fame or power, and you're just like over it. You don't care what people think or see. What are they gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going too deep in the conspiracy side of things.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
tinfoils are definitely on for this conversation because
I love these kind of
oh
stories.
man, like we can really go
They're crazy.
down like and just speculate like the government's in on it. They're
Yeah,
deleting, you know, information. We can just go it's just crazy. Like you would think that justice would be, how they say justice is blind, like no matter who you are, you break the law, whatever, you get, and you get found out, you get tried.
yeah.
That's how it should be.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, right? Like in overseas, if you stole something, you got your hand chopped off. Like
Very
you were just
extreme, but I mean,
to the end. Like there was like, oh, you wanted to steal that? Well, now you can't because you don't have a hand. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
it's like, and you steal again, and they cut your other hand off. Or if you
Or
told a
the
lie, cut out
community
your
would
tongue.
community would handle you.
Yeah, they would literally stone you, man.
Hmm.
Like the community outreach. They would put you in the middle of the court and just blast you
Now
with
we're
rocks.
not condoning any of this. We're just talking like,
No,
like that, like there is some
but this
type of
happened. This was real. That happened.
it still happens. Like it's not in our world, but that's in another country. That's their world. But
Yeah,
I think we're losing what actual justice is here, and I feel that's how I personally feel like um, people, entities, companies, they break the law, they steal from people, they lie
mhm,
to people, even like in the securities game, like insurance. They do something huge and nobody goes to jail. It's more like we're gonna find you $2 million and we'll call it even.
yeah,
Where does that money go? I think
yeah,
we're going into another
yeah.
into
Well,
another rabbit hole over here, but like it's just like we're getting blackpilled and it's not good for the country.
it's yeah. There's like two things that I wanted to talk about. They're kind of they're kind of on the conspiracy theory front.
Well, shoot.
Because we're already basically doing this is a conspiracy theory episode,
Yeah.
which is beautiful because we didn't know we were going to talk about. But
Hmm.
um, I saw something the other day that it you definitely have to like embrace the fact that it's probably most definitely a conspiracy theory. But it was put together really well, and it talked. I think I sent it to you. It was about um,
Yep.
April Fool's Day
Yep. I
being
haven't watched it
active.
yet, but you did send
Oh
it.
yeah, you should watch it and like let me know. Basically, it talks about how we've been tricked, and that's why April Fool's Day is what it is, into believing that there's 28 days in every month, and if we just followed that rule, that the end of the month would and the beginning of the month would always end on a Friday and begin on a Monday, and or Sunday to Monday. So there's a really well put together 30-second reel describing like why it's April Fool's Day, and it actually makes sense if you kind of listen and like, wow, that's pretty good. Like that does kind of make sense. So if you're into the wonder if that's true or not, then you can jump down that rabbit hole.
Maybe we
And
should do one of those things where like we'll put a link down below of that video.
we should, yeah,
So
we should
like if people want to watch that video, I'll make sure to do that. That's a takeaway.
yeah, put that link in the bottom and let us know what you think. Like I there's two sides of the fence, but like I feel like that's a negotiable video. Like they did well. And it's not like, I mean, you could base your faith off of the with your answer, and that's obviously going to be your answer. Or you could just look at it like, what if? Like
Hmm.
let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's jump. Let's go see where it takes us, and let's be open minded, which is kind of what our whole theory about this whole podcast is. Just be open minded.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
all have our views and our things, but like it would be a pretty boring podcast, I think. I wouldn't want to listen to somebody's opinion for an hour. Like I just want to, if I was going to listen to somebody, they should be, somewhat entertaining or have a good vibe or have, good content to talk about or things like that. But I don't think they should be like, breathing down the fire and brimstone of, their convictions, into the thing. The other, uh, the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I know you're into this too, is all of the cryptocurrencies this week have just taken a dump. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I haven't
And
looked at it in probably 2, 3 weeks.
I have. Let me make sure I can show you that screen. I have. Let me hide behind this. Everything's in red. Everything has crashed. All of the I'm invested into 4 or 5 different cryptos. I wouldn't say they're crashed. Like it's scary, but all of them have taken a dive.
One thing that I've
Because
learned from the crypto game is buy and hold.
yeah, that's a
That's
long game.
yeah, it's definitely the long game. I'm taking a look at my account right now. Yeah, I see the dips and everything.
Yeah, and it's a fun, and it's I coming from someone who never got into this until just recently. It's a volatile stock. It's fun to watch. So if you got a couple $100 or $100 or $50 or $20, throw it into a coin, see what happens. Watch it rise and fall. Um, since invested, I think up. Excuse me. I think I'm up like maybe $50, which is fun. And if I lose it, that's fine. I could do that in the lunch,
Hmm.
buying lunch for my guys. It's not a huge deal, it's but like I think about the story with you when you actually had some bitcoins, like full Bitcoin.
Oh, don't tell me about that. I told you,
I
right?
tell this story a lot
Oh
because
man.
this is such a big topic to me. Like, because I even showed my
Lesson
wife.
learned.
Oh my gosh. I showed my wife, I was like, look, this is when I slid the scale and to show her, I'm like, this is when Laz purchased Bitcoin. And then I'm like, see how it spiked? And then it dipped back down. And like, look, and then it went up to $70,000 a coin, $72,000 a
This is
coin.
before I even knew actually what the heck I was doing, man. So,
Yeah.
all right. So the story is, guys, and I'm not sure if I shared it before in another podcast, but I was, God, I don't remember, maybe 21, 22 years old. I had my first Coinbase account and I bought Bitcoin for like $7 a piece. I think I might have bought like three or something like that. And I'm trying to remember, like I could probably log in and find out. I just hate looking at that at that spreadsheet, like because it'll still show it on there. But I bought it and about $7, and I think I made like it went up $50 or something, and I just sold it. I called it whatever. But now that
You bought it at
Bitcoin,
$7.
it's
And
gone up
and
to
to
what,
give
$65,000 a piece.
so back when what I can see in for Bitcoin in 2019. It if you wanted to buy a solid Bitcoin, it was about $4,000. And then in let's slide the scale here. In April of 2021, it spiked to $55,000 a coin. And then in December of 2021, it spiked to 63,000. Then it crashed down the lowest point um, in December of 2022. It crashed down to 17,000. And then as of today, it is worth right now it's worth $68,680 per coin. But it was like 74, 75 last week. So it is volatile. But that's a lot. I mean, $7. You had 10 of them?
See, in 2010, Bitcoin was 30 cents.
Oh, man. Can
That's
you
just
imagine if you would have bought like $100 worth?
in 2013, Bitcoin began trading at $13. So it was around that era. I don't remember. I have to pull it up, but it's when I had 3 Bitcoin.
And I got to tell you, though, we were talking about this
Oh
tonight,
man.
this afternoon. I was like, so if you would know, like, if you knew it was going to cost you like $4,000 to buy into a currency, but if you knew in like a year or two it was going to be worth like 100 grand,
So
you would figure out a way to get that initial purchase out of the way.
here's a calculator, or the question from Google. What if I invested $1,000 in Bitcoin in 2010? That $1,000 investment would be worth 31 trillion $247 million, basically.
Oh, dude. That's Jeff Bezos money right there,
No,
dude.
that I don't think anybody has that type of money in the bank account, but yeah, that would be $1 trillion, man. 31 trillion. That you're worth more than a country, than the United States.
You could literally end all like hunger issues. You could fund every family a couple milli
Yep.
and be cool with it and not even care. More than that, you could hit everybody with a 5 milli, you know, taxes after taxes, 2.5, cool bill.
I don't think it would stretch per person, but I think you can at least give everybody $1. And
I
it,
don't know. Trillions pretty heavy. That's thick, man.
how many, like, cuz how many people in the world? Let's see. Let's find let's
Not that many. I think there's
how many humans on earth? 8 billion.
all right. So yeah, you're super covered. So trillion. What'd you say? How many trillion?
Uh shit, I lost. Oh, here we go. 31 trillion. I guess you would be able to, right?
That's such a ridiculous number.
Yeah. I mean, you
It's
would definitely be able to fund the country, no problem. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And
People would know you would there would be signs that you were in charge of things. They would you wouldn't have to tell anyone. But
it's that meme, like
yeah,
I wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs.
you would know. Oh yeah, that's a man. Oh man, that's fun to think about. But can you imagine like you don't know what you don't know? You know, $1,000 back in 2010. You said
I mean, that was a lot, that was a little nice chunk of change, you know.
that was the coin. You know, that was probably by today's standards, it was probably $25,000 maybe.
All right, let's be accurate.
I don't know.
What is
I'm guessing. All right, let me make a better guess.
one
I'm gonna say
thousand dollars worth
12 grand. That's my guess.
2010 today?
12 grand.
It's about 14 $100.
14.
Yeah.
Oh, $400.
Yeah, that's a difference there. Hold on.
Huh. I guess I wasn't making that much money in 2010. That was a lot of money to me,
No,
man.
but I mean, $1,000 went far back then, if you really think about it.
That's true. I
Yeah.
remember my first deals as a contractor with the company I was working for. I lived on that 7 grand I made for months. months and months. Like it was,
Yeah.
I was cruise control.
Yeah,
Now that's
you can make you back then, you could make it stretch, like, you could I mean, 2010, I was, driving my Bronco back in the day, and gasoline was, like, 85 cents a gallon, you know?
yeah,
So, like, filling up that gas tank was no problem because I wouldn't hit $30, you know?
yeah, yeah.
I used to, that was premium, if no, that wasn't premium, that was unleaded. If I wanted to
Were
go
you
premium
driving when were you driving when there was leaded gas? They had leaded.
no, that's before me.
All right. Yeah, those were I wasn't driving that time, but I do remember seeing it in the pump. My parents would get leaded gas in their cars and stuff.
Yeah, that's before
And
me.
it smelled different. It was a different kind of smell. I don't know why it did, but
Dude, we could have been we could have been,
turbo rich.
yeah, but it's okay.
You don't know,
I don't
what you don't know. Like you don't.
now I just buy and hold. That's my go-to strategy. Like, whenever, something new pops up, I buy in and I just hold it. It's gonna pump, there's gonna be rug pulls, but I'm not investing, money I don't have. Thank God that I'm in a position where I have, disposable income.
Yeah,
And, that's what I would recommend to anybody looking to get into crypto. Like, if you're gonna get
I invested.
or stocks in itself.
You could invest into the small ones like the Shiba Inu. If you put like $100 in there, you're gonna own 3.5 million shares.
Hmm.
That stock.
And just
So
hold
if
it.
something
You
does go
never
wild, then
you never know,
yeah,
especially with like how volatile, dollars or any country's currency is.
yeah,
I'm a firm believer that at one point people are gonna lose faith in fiat. You know what I mean?
mm,
That's what, like, a country's money is called. Like,
yeah,
either
yeah,
it's either backed by gold or backed by something else. People are gonna could lose faith in it. It could happen. It would be
yeah.
ignorant to say, "Oh no, that'll never happen." No,
Well, I'm not.
there's been countries, historically, that literally have lost their value of their currency.
Yeah, I used to joke with my brother-in-law. They live in Canada, and I used to joke with. He would tell me how much something cost there, and I'm like, "What is that? Like $3 American?"
Hmm.
No, this is like 20,000. I'm like, what is that? $3? But now it's like the American dollar is not as powerful as it used to be.
Mm.
Uh, I wonder what that conversion rate is now. Uh, U.S. to Canada. So it's $1.35.
Yeah,
So the Canadian dollar is $1.35 for a dollar American.
so
So
their currency is a little bit weaker than ours, so
yeah,
we can buy more of their currency. Okay.
it used to be way worse, where it was jokeable. Where you can be like,
Mhm.
oh, that's 20 grand there. Well, that must be like $13. you know,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, that's how, like, the Mexican peso is like. God, I used to remember sometimes, like, we would go to Mexico and our dollar would, like, just be like
yeah,
25, 30 pesos. How
yeah.
how much is it right now?
16 dollars and 50 well 16.55 pesos to a dollar.
Okay, so uh, okay, so that's kind of like what the normal is from 10 to 16. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But there was times where it was 25, 30. I remember those times, like, traveling down there with my parents,
Mhm.
and you would
They were
just
telling
you can splurge, you know, you can
yeah.
you can do whatever you wanted, basically.
Do you remember when there was like a million pesos? Like they had to restructure their currency.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember all that currency back in the day.
There was a guy that did the concrete here at my house. My dad's been using him forever. Super great dude named
Hmm.
Manny. And he was telling me a story about his family. They had so much money in Mexico, and when they restructured, they lost everything.
Yeah.
Like they had to start over. There was no other way to level the playing field. So they literally went from having all this money in the bank and it was gone. You
Hmm.
know, makes you wonder if like could we ever see that here, like
A,
on our
a
soil?
restructure of our dollar. Dang, that'd be
Yeah,
scary. That would
and
be
say
scary.
you got 5, 10 grand chilling in your bank, and all of a sudden it's worth nothing, and they you can't even get it. It's gone. It's like literally not there. You had the numbers, on the screen, but now they're zeroed out. Like that would be like, what do you do?
That would be super scary. So if that would ever happen, I guarantee you that these, alternate currencies like Bitcoin and Shiba Inu, call it a Dogecoin,
Yeah.
they will take off.
Oh yeah.
They will take off.
I think that's the hope is that
It
is
can
that
because the crypto community is really open and open minded about this stuff can happen.
mhm.
And there I'm part of them back when I had my Facebook and a few like crypto groups and all that stuff, and some people are talking about them and having great conversation, but then there's always people that like just despise crypto, like they have no faith in it. They think that nothing backs it, you know,
And it
and
wouldn't
they just
it would
and they just troll, like oh Dogecoin is dog water, like you're only in it because you support Elon Musk or whatever.
it
Uh,
literally is the face of a dog.
it is.
Super.
But the crazy thing is, I keep saying this, like it could become a thing, like especially,
Well, look at Bitcoin.
yeah,
Did
yeah,
like you
oh
said,
yeah, definitely.
that's real money, man. A couple or what do you ever said, 30 something trillion dollars.
$31 trillion for
That-
$1,000 back in the day.
What do you
If people would have known that, I'm sure people would have uh, dumped $1,000, into it. I'm gonna pull a Back to the Future, go back in time, tell myself back then, here's $1,000, put
think
it
about how I would rewrite history? Like everybody in the world would know who you are.
right.
Not a good thing either. But like
I'll definitely be Biff.
everybody would be hitting you up. Hey man, can I borrow, 25 milli real quick? Yeah, I'm not gonna give it back, but I need to borrow it. And that's you could literally give somebody that kind of money and not even blink.
Yep. Be like,
It
sure.
wouldn't even matter. It would be like giving $20 to somebody. Just
I think somebody owning that much money would literally break the world. It would
you know
literally.
somebody invested. I guess not, huh? No, nobody invested $1,000 back then.
I think like the some of the big hitters were what are those guys called from Facebook? The Winkle something brothers. Facebook. What are they called? Winklevoss? Is that their name? Yeah,
So the
Winklevoss.
so the third year running, this dude, Shangping Zhao, the founder and former CEO of crypto exchange, is the crypto's wealthiest person.
Dang. All right, so the Winklevoss.
1.6 trillion.
Is that how much he owns
Yeah,
in dollar wise, right?
dollar wise, yeah.
So here's I googled this. How much Bitcoin does Winklevoss have? He has an estimated 70,000 Bitcoins. Holy smokes!
70,000 bitcoins.
Let's
Yeah.
convert that. What is 70,000?
So
That is 4.5 trillion dollars. Four point
as it is
six.
right now.
That's a lot of money, man. That's still a lot of money.
4.76 trillion.
Ooh.
That's painful. I mean, you know what though? I talk about this all the time. We're just doing it for fun. But I've learned in business to never count someone else's money
Right? Yeah.
because this is for fun. But like,
It is fun watching it,
oh
looking
fuck,
it up real time and talking about it.
yeah, this is not like being upset at your neighbor for bringing home a
Yeah,
bone.
we're not envious at all. We're not
Yeah,
envious at all.
this is a weird problem to have with taxes and people bothering you and just an unreasonable amount like financial power. Like that's what's cool to talk about. I don't think I would want that. I wouldn't mind having some money, like, you know, a little bit of flashy money, but that's literally lonely at the top money. There's nobody else that can
Yeah,
compete with.
because you would question everybody's motive why
Mhm.
they're talking to you. Like
You could go to a
like
continent and say, everything on this continent, I will pay for it. It's mine now. We're renaming it. Like, here's
I
a whole bunch of money for everybody, and you're all gonna vote. You're all gonna make me the. I own this world now. Like literally, it's mine. Like,
imagine you just
no
show
longer
up.
called Earth. It's called what's his name? It's called What did you say his name was? Wizzle.
Winklevoss.
This is now Winkle Land. This is no longer. This is no longer the Earth. It's Winkle Land. Yeah, that's next. That's next level problems.
Like, do I think that any of these uh cryptocurrencies are they ever going to get like a Bitcoin? I don't think so. I don't think they'll get up to that
You feel
65.
like Bitcoin's basically going to be like
I think
the
yeah,
dog,
I think it's a big daddy of them all. I think it's king. I think it's
dude.
going to stay like
Even if
that.
you could go back into time, like, what if you could go back when Bitcoin was 25 grand? You know, like 65,000 is a lot of money to come up with for
Mhm.
just regular Joes to buy one coin in hopes that it goes up. But if you do look at the 5 year, it is going up. But like, I would have jumped in it. I would have figured out 25 grand if I had, like, I don't know, man, because you don't know.
Mhm.
Like, that's the whole thing. Like,
I think at the time like my mind was just in a whole different space. I wasn't thinking about investments. I wasn't thinking, "Oh, I'm going to hold on to this, because X, like something could happen." Like
yeah,
I literally was just, "Oh, I made $50. Cool. I'm going to go to Applebee's."
yeah, man. That's a free meal. That's a free meal, baby. We're going to Sizzler.
Oh man. Oh,
uh, that story though is inspirational and it's terrible at the same time because
yeah.
it really does. It means like you really should, if you're going to invest. And this is coming from a dude that was never taught how to invest. Just recently learned, maybe a month ago, and started messing with Bitcoin. Um, just be patient and don't worry. Don't start with something you don't want to lose. Um, it's not that I've seen it go down. I've seen it dip. Like you said, I've seen it. I've lost $12 in one day, but I've got it back the next day, like, or
Hmm.
maybe even the same day. It just depends on when I've looked at the app.
My
But it is fun. Bitcoin is so volatile. It's fun to watch because it takes off.
my biggest win in cryptocurrency was Dogecoin. I bought in so early. I had so much of it, and I believe I sold when I had about 10 grand's worth of Dogecoin,
That's
and
killer. Yeah, I
because
have 495.
it pumped. I had like millions of Dogecoin, and when it pumped, I sold. That it was in the news. It was like I was watching it like a hawk. Like I was
I bet you
like,
were like looking at that button like sell, sell. Should I sell?
yeah. As soon as it hit around $10,000, I sold it. I'm telling you,
Well, for
I didn't
people
put in
that
much.
haven't tried investing yet, let me hide behind my, like, you can see the number here, um, changing every, like, second. Is it moving?
Yep. Yeah, those.
Like
I
you,
think those were like 5 minute candles. I think that's what they are.
yeah. I mean, that's that's the coin going up and down, up and down, up and down. So, and that's not a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a dollar, but um, it's fun to watch because it does, like, when it peaks and you're like, oh, it must be crazy. It's only like barely anything, but it looks dramatic. Except like Bitcoin, that's definitely when that dives or goes up, you're like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. From somebody told me they feel like Bitcoin's gonna be worth like way like $500,000 soon.
That's possible. I'm not gonna lie. It's
And
possible.
that comes back to the thing. Well, right now. If you wanted to buy in 68 grand, we'll buy you one of them. If it went to 500 grand, that would be killer. That's
Oh
a great
yeah,
investment.
a
But what if
great
it doesn't?
return on investment. Yeah, if it doesn't, that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. What if it doesn't? Then you're out that's a lot of loot.
I mean, companies are even investing in it. That's a crazy thing. You can pull it up, like like so and so. Let's just say, for example, Bank of America. They'll buy Bitcoin to hold it.
Yeah.
They know something's gonna pump it. They'll make a few million, sell it, call it a day. Even if they did lose money, they get the tax write off. So it's not like it's not like they're losing really.
Yeah. I was just reading I think it was AI that did it, but it said that I remember seeing it. Elon Musk had said to invest in Bitcoin, and I just looked it up and it said that he actually had never said that. It was just somebody had manipulated his voice. I'm
Mm.
actually seeing a lot of those manipulated voices.
Oh, that's
Someone's
the deep
pushing
fakes.
ad. Yeah, someone's pushing an ad for their vitamin, and it's like Joe Rogan talking about this vitamin. He's not talking about the vitamin. You
It's
know,
not even him.
no, it's like if you watch their mouths aren't even synced up with the words,
That's
but
scary
they have
stuff, man.
mimicked the voice, which is scary. I sense a lot of uh, bad times coming with AI, you know, making things
That's why you
very,
gotta have a safe word with your family. You gotta have some type of uh I don't know, like have that type of conversation because
yeah,
it's we're going into crazy, crazy times with technology. I think we've touched this before. AI is either gonna make us or break us as a society.
yeah,
Skynet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely like when we were talking about things to chat about tonight, maybe like looking up some new topics just to get an idea. I still have that screen up, but it said right here, AI revolution is should replace 85 million jobs. I didn't click on it, but that's probably what it's for, is clickbait. But
I mean,
uh,
there's a lot of like jobs, like especially like in my field, in the insurance field, data entry gone. You know,
yeah,
data, you know, like analyst gone.
yeah.
AI can just do it in a whim.
And robots, I mean, you think about installation and building and growing, from what I do from an installer standpoint, the systems that we could build and do with robots that don't take breaks,
Yep.
that don't need to eat, that just are just set up to program and you just run them. And the yeah, it would cost a lot to get started, but man, you could literally like, drop off a fleet of your robots to a job site and it's done in 2 days.
hmm
And you go gather them up and you take them to the next job site. Like
Even
that to me is neat to think about, but I also is kind of scary to think about,
yeah,
you know.
like you think about like even on the and like let's just say like legal, like Elon Musk said, his is going to be able to take a proposed bill and summarize it for you.
Mhm.
And these bills, you see them being rolled out by, in the cart tool, they're like 10,000 pages. AI is going to be able to summarize that for us.
Yeah.
That's a positive, if anything. Like, tell me what this bill is about. It's going to
Yeah.
read through the whole thing and it's going to give us some type of summary. But
You
look,
can do that now. You could take a 4 hour, video and dump it into your AI and say, break this entire thing down for me in, 30 seconds or less.
right?
And AI will tell you the synopsis and all the key points, and you basically know all you need to know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That
So yeah, all the secretaries, and it's sad that there were that it's it's sad, but kind of like it's innovative. So it's interesting.
well, this won't be crazy in 5 years. This will be kind of a normal thing, like very much so. I bet you we'll probably start seeing robots actually on, in restaurants and in grocery stores, and maybe the cart return boys will no longer be boys; they'll be robots.
hmm
At Costco, there'll be a robotic thing happening. Who knows? Like it. Who knows what's going to happen? But it's pretty exciting time to be here watching. It all happen.
If I was, some type of like company where I owned, you know, it was big, I would definitely implement AI, but I would definitely keep the human touch, in it. And I think that's what most, I think what's, obviously, if you're in manufacturing, that's a whole different topic because, it's all about, bottom line, efficiency, and all that stuff. But there's certain industries where you need to have that human touch still, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Well, as old school humans, we're very much calculated, or we're very much designed for intimacy. And whether that's not in a sexual way, most of the time, it's just having a connection. Connection to in business, a connection to a product, a connection to the partner you're working with or the people you're working for,
mhm.
uh, and down to our spouses. That human connection, that intimacy, that feeling valued, and that interaction you can't get from a robot.
Yep.
So that's I hope that we're not a dying breed. But who knows what the future has?
Yeah, like
You know,
in my insurance world, uh, yeah, there's two types of customers. There's the customers that don't want any interaction, that do everything e-commerce. So they go
mm,
to the Progressives, to the Geicos, and they buy their insurance policies there. It's all price driven, and let the lowest insurance company win, and that's the insurance policy that they buy. I was the insurance agent, and I had tons of customers that valued the interactions. Like, Laz, you're my go-to guy whenever something happens. I need to change coverages. I buy a car. I need somebody to talk to, or I got in an accident. I need to be able to pick up the phone and talk to somebody that I know, that I trust. And those were
yeah,
those were my loyal customers that actually made my book of business, thrive.
that's
So
good.
that's why I say, like, that, like, there's ways to implement AI without taking the human touch away from things. I think like AI, I would use it for like customer management, in a system, um, reading.
Catching human errors would be great.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had buddies lose their businesses over human error.
Hmm.
Like the gun store. I had one of my closest friends. They had a clerical error, and it was literally the smallest detail, but it got missed. And because of our administration and the zero tolerance
Jeez,
policy
that's
that we're
sad.
right now, they completely shut them down. They were left with all the product. They couldn't sell anything. They basically went out of business overnight. It's super
Jeez.
sad. But if they would have had an AI bot, or something watching, because the way that you fill out a firearm, at that particular store was paper. So it takes someone, another guy, you filling it out as the customer, then someone proofreading it, and then another person signing off on it. And if it's just you're just so used to wanting something to be there, like wanting it to be right, so you can move it along, you get complacent, and next thing you know, you're out of business. It's crazy, but yeah, like little tangent there, but it's
No,
that.
yeah, yeah. I
It,
mean, that goes straight with the conversation. There's ways to implement it where it actually helps the business be more efficient.
yeah,
Because, like, obviously being more efficient would have kept them, uh, you know, right with their regulation. I'm not sure what was missed, but whatever, it would catch these things, and they wouldn't have to, be shut down or anything like that. Man, I hate hearing stories like that because,
yeah, it's frustrating.
especially with over regulation, like, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, but it did open the door to us working together. Like we have a real estate investing company that we started together, and actually today we got our first contract, like this morning.
Right on.
It's under contract, and he works that like fully. Because I still run my security business. The goal is to be able to eventually do more real estate and less out in the field where I have my guys, running the business and doing the projects. But uh it's exciting, man. We got like our first under contract
There
deal.
you go.
It's we'll see what happens. So you don't wanna you don't wanna count your chickens too quick, but
No, yeah, no, that's good to hear, especially with your first success in any business, your first sell, your first contract, your first whatever it is, your first customer.
yeah,
That's a milestone.
that's what I'm telling like, dude, this is the best time to make another deal is when we're in the middle of getting one happening, you
Yeah,
know?
get that referral. If there is a referral, go on to the next.
Yeah.
Dang. I do miss sales. That's one thing that I miss about it. There's always the hunt, the always looking for customers. That's energy draining. It's hard work. But
Oh man.
when you do find it and you lock it in,
Yeah.
there's a high to it. Like I always that's whenever I talk to sales teams and everything, that's first thing that I say, there's a high at the end of it, like, and it never stops because once you lock that in and you're on to the next.
Yeah. And being self-employed is a kind of a it's kind of a it doesn't really make sense because you don't make any money until you actually make some money. Like you can bust your I'm always out of a job. So every time I finish a job, I no longer have a job until I find another job.
Yep.
So I finish a project, and when that project's over, I'm we're technically out of business. And
Hmm.
then we another not really out of business, but
No,
we're
yeah, I get you.
so I do have these 3 a.m. thoughts. In the beginning, it was like, oh man, we only have this project going. When this is over, I don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes, uh, I tell our success story. Like Jorge and I used to share. Like we had one service call. We would go to it together, and then we'd spend the rest of our time screwing off and going into gun stores and driving around town. And that was the simpler times where we just weren't busy, man.
Yeah.
Uh, and but now it's like we're deadline to deadline to deadline to why haven't you started just yet? This was supposed to be why aren't you here? You know, and we're busy and that's great. And I prayed to be this busy and I got it. And now it's very stressful and it's very tiring and it's very much a game of chess and you're always going to be behind the eight ball somewhere. And I'm thankful for that. Um, but it is stressful.
Yeah.
You know, you know, all of this could put you could get through all these projects and then you don't have any for 6 months. So you really have to be careful if you're self-employed. And most people if you're listening and you're self-employed, you understand, you get it. It's not fun all the time.
Yeah.
There's
There's
the coolest part about being self-employed is that you don't answer anyone and you don't punch a clock. And the rest of it is gonna just be built out of what you're made out of,
hmm
your integrity and your drive.
hmm
That's it. Like the rest of it, it just has to happen. You basically have to find work, and you have people under you. You have to find them money too. So it's man, it can be stressful, but I'm glad that we're where we're at right now.
right.
Very thankful.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I think we're at that time. But man, we had a great conversation today.
We
We
did, man. Always it happens every time, man.
yeah, like I feel accomplished. I
Mhm.
feel I feel like we have fun. I feel like we're always trying to bring up topics that could benefit somebody also that could be interested like crypto or even having fun with the tinfoil hat conversation of like
Yeah,
the justice system and all that stuff. And I don't know, it's fun. I'm really digging these. I want to continue doing them. So
yeah,
it
me too.
so if you're watching, and you got to this point, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy us just kind of noodling with our brains. Um, and we just appreciate you. That's at the end of the day where we're at.
We're just two musicians with lots of squirrel moments,
Right.
and it's always interesting to come up with. I never know what we're going to talk about. In fact, it's almost like I don't want to call you during the week because
We'll spoil it.
I'll
We'll ruin it.
I'll be like, oh man, we should have talked about that on the podcast. I think Johnny Carson or somebody was a lot. I think David Letterman or Johnny Carson was a lot like that, where had a lot of friends and a lot of people, but he didn't. He needed them to come on the show because it was like it was for the ratings, it was for the show. But eventually, if you like those guys did it for so long, they were always looking for some topic to talk about. I feel like we always just find a topic and go with it, whether it's conspiracy theories or and these are very uneducated conspiracy theories. This is just putting it out there. We're not looking to get trolled.
Mhm.
Our facts are we're not verifying the facts. We're literally just riffing off of the what ifs. And I think that's what if you put the disclaimer out there that hey, we're not professionals. Um,
We're not professionals.
but we oh that reminds me of something I said today to somebody. Then they didn't get it because they were different. They weren't they were special needs. But I was on a scissor lift today, and they were looking up at me a little bit concerned, and I was like, "It's okay. I'm like 90% professional. It's like a 10% chance you could die, but you probably won't." And they were just looking at me like a deer in headlights. And Jorge leaned in. He goes, "Oh, that's that so and so that they have they're like special needs. They're not going to get your humor." And I felt so bad, but I was like, now it's becoming like I shouldn't laugh, but then it's like telling a joke to someone that doesn't like maybe they can't hear. It's the same concept of like this is so awkward now, and I still have to be in their space and they're in space. And anyways, it was that's a tangent, but yeah, it reminds me of awkward times. It
Definitely.
makes me laugh.
No, I think we're having a great time. Again, if you're watching, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Uh, we're watching numbers. It's like cryptocurrency. We're loving it when it's pumping, and your comments and you interacting with us, it means a lot to us because it even though we're just enjoying this between two gentlemen here, we also like watching the success of this, and it's actually kind of becoming a little bit addicting watching the numbers.
Dude, it's great, man. It's like I don't even know these many. Like, wow, that's how did that happen? What
So
algorithm did we jump on?
I don't know, but we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And any parting words, Ryan?
No, man. Once again, though, just be kind to each other for no reason. It's the easiest thing you can do is be nice to each other. Um, it keeps you safe and happy and mentally in a good spot. And we talk a lot of we joke around and we have a good time, but really like it's coming from a kind spot in our hearts. We're doing this because we're just two like-minded dudes that like spending time once a week with each other and chopping it up. And we do appreciate you guys listening and liking and subscribing. Like the numbers and the algorithms and the logistics. We always look at this before we start the podcast and see what respond to anybody's comments and see where we're at. It's every week. It's been more and more exciting. Like, wow, this is crazy. Like it's actually we're getting a lot of a lot of people watching out there. Like 9,000 views. I don't remember how many hours we're at for these reels that get broken up. So we're super thankful for that, and thanks for tuning in. Once again, just be kind for no reason. It costs nothing to be a good person, and if you can't be one, go find one.
Catch us on the next one.
Yep. Take care, guys.